This podcast is brought to you by the Sony PlayStation 3. Play beyond and unleash the most advanced system around.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Podcast Beyond. I am your host, Chris Roper, editor-in-chief of the IGN PlayStation team. With us, as always, our PlayStation team is actually complete this week. We have Greg Miller, Jeff Haynes, Ryan Clements, and returning as special guest for the last Podcast Beyond of the year, editorial manager Jerry Dunham.
Hi.
Prodigal son.
How's that for a greeting?
Yes.
Yes.
He really built it up too.
I did.
There were some dramatic pauses in there.
Well, they couldn't see as I had a really dramatic face.
Yeah.
Yeah, your acting was amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Too bad you
the
can't get the
pathos.
Oscar because nobody can see it.
He has a beard.
It is. I do have a beard.
Here,
Listen. There you go.
why don't you tell the readers what you've been doing since podcast?
It's
Beyond
been
has left you?
crazy. Besides having a VH1 documentary filmed about myself, I've been spending most of the year. No, I've actually been spending most of the time preparing our Game of the Year awards and a lot of our year-end features that you guys are now working on, and just amping up for 2008, which is really going to be an interesting year for us because it's our 10-year anniversary and we have a lot of big changes planned for the site in general.
We're all fired.
Maybe. No, of course not.
Just
Very
me.
good.
Of course not. Well,
Let's,
yeah, Ryan.
Ryan's fired. I'll see you that.
How have you guys been?
We've been all right.
Yeah?
We've been getting along.
I know. I listen to your podcast.
Yeah, we've been doing all right here. Let's
Pretty
get.
I'm tired.
All right.
No, actually, I'm doing good today. I got up at 8.
You don't look
Gotta
tired.
bring the I was ready to go. Had some coffee. I actually had a bad cup of coffee from the coffee machine in the office today.
Well-
No idea why. It tasted very, very bad.
Well, I think that if you have 300 people using the machine all day long, eventually you're bound to get, the burnt coffee taste.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Was it burnt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I refilled the beans and did my thing, and now it's all right.
You should get a holiday blend from Starbucks.
We should switch it up once in a while.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
It is a Starbucks machine.
The decaf side gets bold, whatever, Sutra. It's the Karma Sutra, but with bold in it. Bold is Sutra, I don't know. And we get house blend. I want bold, straight-up coffee. Why do I have to sacrifice caffeine for the bold taste of coffee?
Well, when the podcast is over, why don't you head to Starbucks? We'll grab maybe a mocha,
Okay.
and we can put that in there. And then we actually have nice, interesting coffee
Can I
to
expense
celebrate
that?
the season. No.
Okay.
Very good.
Good start.
That's a very good
If you
start.
ever wonder what it's like in the IGN office.
There you go.
And I don't even drink coffee. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I love it.
Let's get this show started. Greg, why don't you introduce the segment since I hate introducing myself?
Oh, everybody, it's everyone's favorite news segment, the Roper Report.
Time for some news.
All right, so being that we're in the midst of December now, there's not really a whole lot going on. A couple of game announcements. Patapon was basically made official for the U.S. release in February for the PSP. MLB 08 was announced. Hot Shots Golf 5 is coming out in March in the U.S. on PS3. Woo! So that's all very interesting. Who are they? The usage report dudes. The guys that do the TV, Nielsen guys.
Right.
Anyway,
There we go.
so they do the. I couldn't.
They
I
should
didn't,
change their name to that.
I didn't write. Yeah, I didn't write down Nielsen.
Here's
I'm
the
like,
latest
that's the one thing I
usage
couldn't remember.
report dudes.
The usage report dudes.
They, that's a good one.
The
Erds.
Yeah.
They released their updated numbers, and the PS2 is still kicking ass on how much how everybody's playing them. 42.2% of usage minutes is spent on the PS2 for all gamers.
Did they explain how exactly they can tell how much time someone's
I think
playing?
they
the
sit behind
PlayStation
somebody
2 for?
while they're playing them.
Is that what
For,
it
like,
is?
for an entire
They set
month.
up
It's fun,
cameras
yeah.
in every house in the nation.
They've seen 1984 one too many times.
Yeah. So 42.2% on PS2. PS3 only got 2.5%, which is pretty poor. Although, if you look at the numbers, Xbox and GameCube beat their predecessors as well. So it's, the old gen consoles are still, beating the PS3, 360, and Wii. So there you have that. And then finally, and what may be most exciting to some people, are that the PlayStation Network cards are officially coming out here. They've been out in Japan now, but now they're coming out in the U.S. No specific release date, I guess, but early
next
08
year.
somewhere. So,
Jeff, are you excited?
Woohoo!
All right.
Yeah, so those of you without credit cards can.
It's good to see those. I mean, you remember when we got our PS3s on day one? They had the option to use the gift card then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's been there for 8 years.
Nobody's.
Well, they were prepared, I guess.
I guess they were saving up.
Yeah, so. All right, let's head to the list of upcoming games, Greg.
Oh yeah, I'm here with the official IGN list of upcoming PlayStation software on all 3 platforms by the IGN editors. Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome.
It's a huge week on the PlayStation 3 with nothing coming out. PlayStation Portable will have Luxor, Pharaoh's Challenge, and the biggest release of the week, PlayStation 2, Rock Band cometh. Big
Rock Band
news.
cometh.
Yeah.
How was that game, Chris? I know you've seen it.
Yeah, I played it for an hour the other day. It's pretty good. It's the Band World Tour is pretty much just a linear list of songs that you play from like the original Guitar Hero. If you're playing solo tour on Rock Band, that's how it works. You don't have the character customization, which kind of sucks, and there's no online, which I expected. But the cool thing is once you're inside of a song, it's exactly the same as the other consoles. I had forgotten that I was playing on PS2 every time I went into the middle of a song. And then another very cool note for PS2 owners is that if you buy the bundle, so you get the drums and guitar and all that, it's the PS3 hardware is what ships in the box. So if you say mid-year or next year or whatever, you go to Rock Band 2 or whatever is coming out, and you buy a PS3, you already have a full set of instruments
That's
ready.
neat.
All you need to do is buy the software. So that's very cool.
Yeah.
So but
and $10 cheaper.
Yeah, and it's
Nice.
$10 cheaper. So actually,
Very
yeah. So if you had credits to get PS3 Rock Band, you could buy the bundle and get the instruments, and then
Very nice.
there you go. So that's good times.
I see that since I've been gone, Ryan's as talkative as ever.
We haven't even talked about anything I can comment on yet.
I just haven't heard you say anything yet.
The Roper Report isn't for me to talk during. I can't talk during it.
Everybody else talked during it.
I've heard Greg
Yeah, I
and
talked
Jeff,
during it. I don't care.
offering retorts.
He's getting a little
Interject some
defensive
quips here
already.
and there.
Okay.
Tell us a joke.
Oh no.
not a Metal Gear joke either.
I was just gonna say.
Because I knew exactly what you were about to do.
We'll come back to that.
Lols.
All right, we'll
I'll
come back
think
to
of a
that
good one.
Be owned.
Let's see. We want to do the new segment here.
Sure. Which one?
We
have a list.
We're looking to the future.
Oh.
So here's what we're gonna do is every week now, hopefully, assuming that our inside contact comes in here and our special guest is in town, we're gonna look ahead at what's gonna be happening on the PlayStation blog. Now, the interesting part about this is, this is official information coming from Sony, so it might be updates on games that are coming out or whatever, or expansion packs, or it could be talking about content that we're going to see for the week on the PlayStation Network. So here to talk about.
Oh, good. Here he comes, too.
Here he comes. Blognac is here.
What's up, dude?
Hello, everybody. Yes.
Blognac, how are you doing?
I am fine. Thank you very much, Chris.
Why don't you tell us what do you know today? What do you know this week?
There are going to be 2 very, very interesting pieces coming out. There's going to be some more information on Warhawk Omega Dawn going up on the store, and there's going to be some folklore Christmas downloads coming out that we're going to be posting on the PlayStation blog.
Blognac, can I get you some Imodium?
Yes, yes, you can. Yes.
Okay, just double checking.
Very good.
Thank you, Blognet.
Blognac, can you tell us anything about what we're going to hear in the Warhawk update?
The Warhawk update's going to be some more details on when it's coming out and what exactly it is, versus the folklore things, which are going to be some of the details about the add-on packs themselves.
That's very interesting.
No.
No, not right. Blognac, do you have anything else to add before we bid you a adieu?
No, not really, Chris.
Okay, goodbye then.
I have a feeling we'll never see Blognac again.
Blognet is awesome.
Yeah, thank God.
He's a great guy.
Oh, that's very good. Let's see.
Boy.
Now it's time for topic of the week.
Toe.
So,
It's got a theme song too.
little guitar riff.
Everything's got a theme song.
So this week's topic of the week is just presented by Jeremy here. So forgive us if we don't know what we're talking about yet. Is Sony highlights from this past year? What we thought was cool, what we thought that they sort of did wrong, what we remembered that
That's not
happened
highlight.
in PlayStation world in this past year.
My favorite highlight was this low light. Maybe I screwed up.
All right, well, Greg, since you want to talk about it, why
Yeah,
don't you go
maybe I
ahead?
do want to talk about it.
Maybe you do.
My highlight for Sony this year was GDC. I thought they did an excellent GDC. I mean, especially the people were a little bit down, I know, coming into it, and then they did Little Big Planet, and they had all this crazy cool stuff with Home showed off for the first. I mean, it was just an amazing. It was really cool to be there, and it was really exciting to be on the floor for that conference. So go Sony GDC.
Very good, Ryan.
Thumbs up.
I was actually going to say, as a consumer, I really like GDC too, because that was when I wanted to buy a PlayStation 3, as opposed to when I was hesitant about buying one, because I was not working in the field yet. So that was the point when I was like, ooh, I got to get a PS3. Nice.
You channeled
You're thinking
Fran. Fran was
Before I
channeled.
even worked here. Sweet.
Why don't you, just in interest of expanding the time a bit, why don't you expand on what you're talking about there on GDC? We heard Greg's opinion on this. But.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he always mentions the two biggest things that I was interested in. Little Big Planet is still my most anticipated title, and Home is still really important to me. I think it'll do very good things for the PlayStation Network.
Well, okay. Well, why don't you go in from this angle? So you weren't working here yet when GDC came around. So
Correct.
what was it like seeing that from the outside?
It just felt like Sony was doing some things right instead of just kind of some cool. Like Resistance was really cool, but then they didn't have any really awesome, fantastic announcements after that for me anyway. At least from what I saw. So I don't know. I guess from what I heard that Xbox Live was always awesome. And then the PlayStation Network was always coming in second place with a Wii in a distant third because I don't like their online support. And I don't know. It was just really nice to see them announce Home, which could be a really cool. It could be awesome, or it could not. It could be not so good, depending on how they execute it. Just because if they don't support it properly and it starts kind of crumbling and they don't give it the attention that it needs, they don't constantly update it with like they have those arcade kiosks that they showed in the demo where like people could just walk up and play games. If they never update those or they don't pay any attention to it, it could not do well. But I think it can, and I think if they integrate that with an integrated friends list so that you don't have to keep adding your new friends each time you get a new game, it'll be really nice.
Very good.
That's
Jeff.
what I think.
E3. This past year's E3, I think, was one of the most memorable things I remember from this year, primarily because it showed essentially a plan that Sony hadn't really divulged for a while. I mean, we'd all gotten kind of hyped up on what the PS3 could do, and then it kind of waned because the previous year's E3 was okay, but you're just not entirely sure where they're going with this. But when they showed off the redesigned PSP, when they showed off a lot of the things such as Killzone 2 actually looking exactly like the initial demo or the initial trailer that we saw, when they showed off a huge amount of the lineup, when they showed off Home, when they showed off a lot of the stuff that they were basically rolling out, as well as MGS4, which is probably one of the sweetest trailers I've seen at a press conference. That was one of those things that made me go, damn, this is really going to be incredible. Along with the fact that at that E3, they reduced the price for the first time this year, which was one of the things that made me not only want to run out and buy a PS3 as soon as I got back home. But
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Nice.
But it made me go and tell other people that they immediately had to go and get one because what was going to be coming out was what they really wanted to play. So that was probably one of the biggest moments this year.
Jeremy, what do you think?
I actually agree with Jeff. I think E3 was really big for them. They won between the three big publishers in terms of the impact of the event and how well they did. And but for me personally, my highlights are all related to the games and how I felt the first time I played them, particularly Ratchet and Clank. I had such a good time with that game. That's when I sat down in front of my system this year, and right when I was getting ready to review it, I felt invigorated. I was like, yes, this is one of the reasons that the PS3 had so much buzz around it before it came out. And what it can do. It always gets a lot of flack over what it doesn't do well, but it never really gets a lot of the pats on the back for when it does something right. You look at something like Ratchet and Clank or Uncharted or Warhawk, and these are really smart technical games that people that have taken the time to work on these games have actually brought the most out of the system. And I think that's overlooked a lot in our industry. And I was really glad to actually see someone take the system and show what it's capable of. And it's only the first full year, so it really gives me hope, I should say, to look for the next few years when they're going to see a lot more coming out of the system. So I think that the software itself is actually the highlight for me, that even though there wasn't a huge flood of exclusive like you have on the 360 right now, it's still, the exclusive we did get were very good. And Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Uncharted, Ratchet and Clank, Super Stardust HD, Warhawk, these are all games that are very unique, very interesting, and all of them are good. Can't say the same for Heavenly Sword, but at least it looked good.
Woohoo! I have to agree with the E3 pick. The two parts of E3 that stood out for me was when I went and saw the Killzone demo, and that was I was completely unexpected. I thought it was going to look like crap, and I expected whatever else. And then and then it starts, and I was like, and it looked like CG to me, and then I finally realized it was all gameplay, and I was like, holy crap. Sony's actually, Sony and Guerrilla are actually delivering what was originally promised. Didn't quite look like the trailer, like Jeff said, but it's really, really close.
I still remember your excited call that you made to me.
Yeah,
And
dude. Yeah. So the thing was, they had before the conference the next day they had like a showing at night, and so I went to see this thing, and then I called up and I said, because there's no embargo, so I could read about it immediately, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. Get ready for it. I'm gonna write it here I sat at a bus stop for like 2 hours and wrote about it. But yeah, that was cool. And then the other thing about E3 that was big for me was. Sony was the one company that actually did a lot of stuff and showed people that they were moving forward. Like Nintendo had Wii Fit and it had a bunch of other crap, and Microsoft had a lot of the same games that you'd seen before. It was cool on their end to see more of Halo 3 at that time, but there wasn't really a whole lot of stuff outside of that. And Sony had a lot of games. And they had, right after their press conference, they opened up that giant arcade where they had, I don't know, 40 or 50 games or whatever it was. There's a lot of third-party games we hadn't seen yet. They had, like, the PS3 version of Call of Duty, which was great because you could see that looked exactly like the 360 version. They had Unreal Tournament was playing there. A bunch of first-party games you could play for, like, the first or second time. So that was all very cool. Their lineup was very strong there, and it was cool just to be able to say, hey, we're not just going to show you video of these games, but you can play all of them. Here they all are on their floor. And it was very few games that they had shown that you couldn't play. And you pretty much could, get your hands on almost anything that they had been talking about that year, which was very cool.
The two I wanted to play most, though, I couldn't play, which is Metal Gear and Killzone.
Yeah, well.
I played Killzone.
Well, not there, you didn't.
No, but I played it.
Yeah, and I played Metal Gear, so you suck. You suck.
Beyond. Anybody else have anything to add to Toe before we move on?
I had a very exciting moment of the week at Blockbuster Video this weekend. Has anybody seen the Blockbuster pack they've put together for the PS3?
No.
It's actually a really good deal. It's $600. It's the 80 gig with MotorStorm. Then the same Blu-ray deal that you get, the 5 free Blu-rays, like a year of free Blockbuster rentals, a DVD or Blu-ray remote, a whole bunch of other junk too. It was really neat.
Hey, have you guys talked about the NPD numbers yet, and how what ranked where, and what surprisingly the number one selling PS3 game of the year is?
No.
Clearly not on this podcast.
Do you want to know what the number one selling PS3 game of the year was?
We sure do.
I already told Jeff what it is, so you can't guess.
I'm staying out of this.
But what do you guys think was
For
the number
PS3.
one for PS3? The number one selling game.
Physical game, not a download.
Correct. This year. Anybody?
I'm gonna guess that it's already Assassin's Creed.
What do you think?
Didn't you already tell us?
Yeah, but you weren't paying attention, so the advantage of.
Well, I thought you said something, so you want me to guess on what I think you
Yeah, and
said?
if you're right, I'll just say that's the one.
Madden?
That's correct. Madden is the number one selling PS3 game this year.
I'm going to say Resistance.
But and number 2 is MotorStorm. So those are your top 2 sellers of the year.
That's pretty good.
And of course, there's still December, so we'll see what happens there. But I was surprised to see Madden do so well on the PS3. I thought for sure it was going to be an exclusive title. MotorStorm obviously has the advantage of being packed in so many systems. So once those systems started selling, that obviously helped the units. But I was really surprised to see Madden do so well, especially with a big PS2 user base, big 360 user base. Really surprising.
Although the PS2 really wasn't Madden as a lot of Madden fans consider it, because it had so much more of a casual focus on this one.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the mini games and everything else, which a lot of hardcore Madden fans would probably go, no, not looking at that.
You know what I'm interested in seeing is I don't know if we can talk about the numbers specifically because it might have come out from somewhere else, but so far the sales numbers for Unreal Tournament 3 on the PC have been pretty terrible. Way less than you have to know that Epic expected. But a lot of people on our boards are talking about the PS3 version, which clearly just came out, so we don't have any numbers on that yet. But so I'm wondering if what looks very likely to happen is that the PS3 version will far outsell the PC version, and if that happens, will that change Epic's future? Because they hit they had a massive hit with Gears of War on the 360. If UT3 takes off on the PS3, is that going to change their PC focus? And then you have to look forward to the future with Rage coming from id Software, who are diehard PC guys. Is that going to change their focus in the future? Orange Box is selling very well on 360 and presumably PS3, although that also just came out. Is that going to change what Valve's doing? So some of these numbers that we're seeing here at the end of the year may look like some of these long-time PC developers. So there's a hair in my chocolate.
I think you bring up a good point, Chris. I really do think that you're going to start to see a shift in what PC gamers play and what console gamers play. There's a while where they were kind of doing the same thing, just in different technical fields. But I think that because there's now, number one also is PC games are harder to track because now there's so many downloadable titles through so many different services, including one that IGN provides, the Steam. You have a lot of other third parties out there. EB does it. That it's really hard to get accurate numbers on downloads in terms of, and then plus the retail sales. So that's hard. But I think you're going to see more casual shift towards the PC side. The biggest sellers on PC are things such as Zuma and Bejeweled and games like that, stuff that people can download for $10 and just play, and everyone and their uncle gets them. And I think that because the consoles are so powerful now and they are becoming such a mainstream thing, I don't think it's ever going to go away on the PC. I do think that you're correct, and eventually you're going to see a lot of the big name developers that are so heavily associated with PC games starting to focus more on the console side. Valve is a good example, and I think that Epic is too. I think that both of those sides. I mean, is there any doubt that in the next year or two we're going to see Gears of War 2, and that's going to be probably Epic's big focus?
Yeah, although
I have no doubt.
It'll be pretty interesting to see how this adjusted PC nut rate for UT3 on the PC will affect the PS3 mods, because those were supposed to be interchangeable.
Right.
So it'll be really interesting to see, especially if the PC versions aren't really selling that well, how PS3 users will wind up taking over, or if they will wind up taking over, or if there will even be mods out there for them to have available to them.
I think the perception is going to be that the PC users are going to be the power users, the guys that go in there and they live, eat, and breathe this game, and they're going to develop the maps and all the other mods that they can do. And the PS3, they're looking to. These are the guys that just want to get in and get out and play the game, and then enjoy the occasional title. I think that they're still going to approach it in the way that the PC guys are their hardcore market, and then everyone else is just extra. For now, at least on that game, and I think as you go forward, you are going to see, like I said, a bigger shift towards the consoles.
Yeah. Let's move on to, so let's go to some reader mail.
Reader mail.
Milk old.
Male, female.
Train milk.
Mail.
So,
The last mail in there.
Deviant Boy would like to know which PlayStation editors actually own a PS3 and a PSP at home. And if someone doesn't own it, why are they covering the system?
I'll take this one, Chris Roper. I do not own a PS3 at home, and everybody else in the room does. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. And I did own a PSP, but readers, this was a good idea on my part. Sorry, quick side note. When I bought my PSP from Best Buy, I bought it with the 2-year replacement plan, and then just as my plan was about to expire this year, they announced the PSP Slim, so I went and traded in my PSP. That way I'd get the money back. I got the money full price, $260 or whatever it was. It was with tax, which was awesome, totally. So then I went to buy a PSP Slim, but then I was like, well, wait a second, it's a portable and I have one at work. Why don't I just buy a bunch of games and DVDs? So that's what I did. So I screwed Best Buy and still have a PSP I take home every night. Anyways, though, so that's the reason I don't do the PSP. The reason I do not own a PS3 is not at all because I do not like the system, not at all because I don't cover it. Deviant says in there, how do I keep up with current games or whatever. Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is I own a handful of PS3 titles, and I keep them in my hutch at work so I can play them at work while there's downtime in between, and I can take it home when I take my PS3 home, which I do quite often as well. The fact of the matter is, Deviant Boy, I don't own a PS3 because I am poor. I was saving, PS3 comes out in February. I wasn't even a year into adulthood yet. I just left college. I was saving up for one, and I was waiting for the first great title to come along that would make me want to own a PS3. And the fact of the matter is that would have been Warhawk, but I got the job here, so I had a PS3 at my desk and can bring it home and play Warhawk whenever I want to and do it like that. So that's what I do to save money. I'm still gearing up to eventually buy one, but I just got married, and that cost $1 bajillion. I moved to California, that cost $1 bajillion. I just registered Katie's car. That was $350. I got to register my car now. I still owe Boone County, Missouri, $400 in taxes. When you're an adult, people screw you over. If you are a kid right now and your parents are giving you money for baseball cards, save that money. I wish I had done that. All the stupid Terminator 2 baseball cards I bought, I was retarded. What the hell was wrong with me? Oh. So, I play PS3 quite often. I do enjoy it quite a bit. I look forward to owning one day so I won't have to lug it because it is heavy. But until then, I'm fine right now. Because even once I buy it, I'm going to have to lug around a USB to transfer my saves from work to home.
Lug around?
That's no fun.
The thing this big?
Well, I used to carry it on my keychain, then it broke off. Yeah. And it's stolen right now. Has anybody seen my red Lexar drive? I miss it.
No, actually.
All right. But I do game.
What was the question again?
I do game quite often on the PS3. And speaking of gaming quite often on the PS3.
Little Ronan wants to know, why don't some of the editors hop online for some PS3 editor versus PS3 GB disgruntled posters grudge matches? That's a mouthful. Or it'd be too much to ask for you guys to step away from reviewing games. What about matches? Greg, what say you?
Little Ronan, you want to bring it? Little bitch, bring it on. Me and Ryan are happy to announce we will try to game with you at least once a week, and our first one will be this Wednesday night. Ryan, tell them all about it.
All right, I'm going to tell you all about it.
Well,
Thank
he
you,
speaks.
Greg. So yeah, this segment is going to be from now on henceforth known as Editor Beatdown, because you're probably going to kick our butts in whatever game that we so delightfully select. So yeah, this Wednesday. Actually, what time would you
I don't
have
know.
we
We didn't talk
discussed that?
about that. We get off generally around 6:30. But
I'd like to announce we're thinking around about this idea. We haven't really fleshed anything out.
I have a bunch of details. Well, I mean,
I say we started at
Except
7.
for the most important part,
Like
which
when
is
and what?
where and when.
7, Warhawk.
where
There.
online?
Okay, so here you go.
the
7
ultimate
p.m.
dimension.
Pacific Standard Time.
9
Yes.
o'clock then if you're out on the East Coast.
No, that'd
That's
be 10
10
o'clock.
o'clock.
It's plus 3
East
hours.
Coast.
Man, you guys suck. If you're in Chicago, the only thing that
Central.
matters.
That would be 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking
7 o'clock
p.m.
Pacific time.
7 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday.
We are going to
And
be playing Warhawk.
what you guys will do is a little before the game goes on, you go on the boards and you say, "Hey, we're going to be playing here."
Yeah.
And give some more details about
Deal.
where to find you guys.
Awesome.
Yes. Put your tags or whatever, however you want to handle that
Correct.
part.
Yeah.
But so be on the lookout for that when you guys can play Greg and Ryan and perhaps
We'll
Jeff
try
and
to
I.
do it once. We'll try to do it every week. So every
Yeah,
Beyond will tell you what
absolutely.
day works for us and stuff. Go from
This
there.
is not just for Little Ronan. This is for everybody.
Yeah, no, yeah.
To clarify.
Only little Ronan.
Only Little Ronan can join us. No one else.
Oh, very good.
That's very good of you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just gonna get our teeth kicked in.
Yeah,
But-
I'm
but
terrible.
does anybody else notice this? That as much as we have to play other games, that you love games and you're just not good at them in multiple because you don't have the time to give it to them.
Well,
I
it's-
love Warhawk, and I mean, when me and Jeff would play Warhawk Wednesday, he would own everyone, and I would own pretty much consistently everyone else. And now I just get on there and they just blow my face in.
Well, the thing is, we play so
Blow
many
my
games and we
face
change, game types. You'll play a racing game, then you'll play a shooter, then you'll play a strategy game.
I'm
and
playing a
it's
spelling
like,
game right now.
Yeah, you're playing. So it's like, if you're playing shooters, say 4 days out of a month, and then you're playing racing games like 5 days. You don't. Your skills basically are divided amongst so many different games.
I just want to make sure everybody
Yeah.
understands
Yeah, and,
that.
and there's some
so-
that you
I
just
feel
stop.
bad
I mean,
when I
like,
get on there,
like I stopped playing Warhawk after my stats were reset, like for the second or third time, and
Yeah.
I was like consistently in the top 1,500. I was like, I'm done. I have to like warm back up into that game.
Ooh, quick note on on singing on Rock Band. I was 20th in the world.
No,
a couple
very
days
nice.
ago.
Hey, we don't suck at everything, man. We don't forget when we used to play Battlefield all the time, we owned.
No.
We were very
Well,
good
yeah,
at
that's
that
the
game.
thing. When you can commit to playing. I mean, like if we went home and played Resistance every night or something. I mean,
Yeah.
So moving on, Tacky P wants to know that as game critics, do we find that reviewing games can sometimes hinder our enjoyment of a title? Yes, that is absolutely true. Not as much as writing a guide. I tell you what, I wrote guides back in the day. Writing a guide for a game is absolutely horrendous and will make you hate even good games. But yeah, reviewing games can be kind of a pain because time you're forced to play through a game and say you have like 2 days to get a review up and you're like, okay, all my waking hours for the next 2 days are playing this game and
and there's always something else that needs.
there's always something else that's going
pops up at
on,
work.
and so yeah, it definitely can do that. And especially if you've covered a game a bunch before, and so you're playing through the same tutorial levels a bunch of times, and so that can happen.
Or sometimes you just
Cross-platform.
find yourself looking critically at something that you're just playing for fun. So you're like, that could have been a little bit better. That was something that was dropped. That texture should have been sharper. Just whatever. Sometimes it'll just creep in your head.
I concur with Jeff.
All right, very good. Biosamin.
Fuzzy what?
Says, can MLB 08, the show, be considered a top-tier PS3 exclusive? In his opinion, it's going to hit the PS3 as the best sports title on the platform, and it's only on PS3. I don't think that you can consider it a top-tier exclusive, even though the series is very good.
I'd say it's
Yeah.
mid-tier.
Yeah, so the thing is, if you own a PS3 and you like baseball, that's it. For the past couple of years, that has been the baseball game to buy. But I don't think it's going to make anybody run out to buy a PS3.
Yeah, it's definitely not a system seller. It is a very, very good franchise. And from what I've seen and heard so far about the game, like everything that was in 07 is completely different and definitely improved in 08. And we're still looking forward to when we're going to get a chance to see it. I think it's going to be coming in January or like mid-January. But it's supposed to be
the
radically-
preview builds, not the actual game.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
the previews, but also just them touring it around. I think their plans are to bring it around in the middle of January. But it's supposed to be vastly improved on the experience of 07.
I like that series.
Yeah, it's really good.
I've yet to find a baseball game that I like more than Hardball, though. Do you guys ever play
the
those?
OG one,
The what one?
the original Hardball
The PC ones, 5 and 6 in particular.
I played 6 a fair bit.
I was a big fan of World Series Baseball on the Genesis.
That was really good,
I love
too.
that game.
And Tony La Russa baseball
Tony La
was
Russa was awesome.
Tony La Russa, yes.
I liked Earl Weaver.
Oh, yeah, that's another
Earl
one.
Weaver was the
There
business.
were a lot of really good baseball games back in the day, and then for a while,
school.
Yeah, for a while they just
it.
went down the crapper.
RBI baseball.
Oh,
was good.
God.
Awesome.
Terrible at RBI.
Baseball stars.
Yeah.
Dr. John wants to know if we think that this generation, the technical bar was set too high by Microsoft, and as a result, Sony was forced to put out a console that was too expensive for a lot of gamers, and developers to force release games that don't look as good, blah, blah, blah. No. Sony set the bar for themselves by just saying we're going to make the best possible console and put whatever technology we possibly could fit in there. The cell was, they've been working on the cell for I don't know how long, but it was years and years and years before the PS3 came out. And
I think 2001.
yeah, and Blu-ray was, in the works for a while, and that's their next, media format that they're trying to, get everybody to buy. So this everything that Sony has done has nothing to do with Microsoft. Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony all kind of together. They all kind of dictate when, people are going to start releasing consoles because you can't have like a 2 or 3 year gap between when one company releases one and somebody else. But so maybe you could say that Microsoft's release date kind of forced Sony and Nintendo to come out, when they did. But at the same time, the actual components of the PS3 and the development system that Sony's making everybody use, and if you want to say that the PS3 is hard to program for, that's Sony's fault.
But you'd also have to wonder what exactly the bar is that he's talking about, because even
It's
with
alcohol, clearly.
Yeah, because even with like it coming out a little bit earlier, like just the components of the PS3 and the 360 really don't even wind up matching up. Blu-ray versus DVD, like Bluetooth versus like wireless, backwards compatibility versus somewhat backwards compatibility, which is slowly being introduced with Xbox titles are now
and
full
slowly being
downloadable.
removed from the PS3.
Yeah, and it's slowly being removed. But they're just elements where it's like, whatever the supposed bar is, it doesn't even fully exist for both companies.
The real issue at this point has been development expertise. You look at something, like I said earlier, for the first-party games, or compare something like Call of Duty 4, which Infinity Ward did an incredible job of making it the same game on every platform you play it on. It's exactly the same title. I think the PS3 took a lot of hits early because you had developers rushing to get these ports of 360 primarily developed titles onto the PS3. They weren't optimized strong enough, so you have all these poor examples of how to of the PS3 performing when really it's just a matter of them not properly porting this title over. If you look at Call of Duty 4, again, it's a perfect example of it. The PS3 is just as capable as the 360, but because the 360 is the number one installed base, because the 360 has the lead and the jump, most games are developed with that as the primary SKU, and then in the port, because of the optimization time and their deadlines, they're not always ideal. And the PS3 suffers because it's such a different architecture that that they don't have the time to make it as best as possible. It's not a hardware failing at all. It's really just the difference in software. And when you're number one like Microsoft is, you're going to get the lead SKUs, and that's just how it works. PS2 had the same luxury in the last generation.
I have a quick question. So slightly deviating off topic, but staying on it to an extent. Sony's big thing when they're talking about, the price and what's different between the 360 and PS3 is that, this is a machine built to last, that it's for that 10-year life cycle, it's going to be able to keep producing excellent games where they're going to have to, 360 is going to have to make a leap before the PS3 would. The question I have is, do you think there'll be pressure then put on Sony when 360 does make that leap? And then are they going to keep pushing PS3? Are they going to have to start talking about PS4 before they want to?
All depends on what happens this year, I think. I think if 2008 is exactly like 2007, then they're going to be forced to go into development early again for another system and try to keep up, or maybe even be first next time. I think that if 2008 is successful, which I do think it's going to be, PS3 has really started to take off now, and there are a lot of really high-profile.
There's a lot of good stuff coming.
Yeah.
See, I also think that part of it could possibly be just developers realizing that they're kind of pushing it. Because when I had the interview with Ben Brinkman on MLB 2K7 and 2K8, one of the things he mentioned was that they realized, especially when they were doing their own internal development, that they weren't fully taking advantage of the hardware. And I think a lot of developers, especially this year, have realized, look, we've only had maybe a year, maybe 18 months of actually getting up on this thing. And now that we actually have more time, we can optimize it. We can squeeze more out of it. We can do all the things that we need to or that we want to. So as long as the developer takes time and understands what the hardware is, which is the biggest thing.
Well, on a related email we got from, or whatever it is, from Prodigy 99, it says now that Epic has shown that the PS3 is a capable platform, obviously with Unreal Tournament 3, do we think that will pressure other developers to make PS3 games run better? And will it basically serve as a new bar for them to hit, and will that help? I absolutely think that's true. Not just with Epic, but with games like Uncharted and Ratchet, Clank, and other things like that. If you look at a perfect example is the PC space from 10, 15 years ago, where you have id releasing games like Doom and then Quake, and you have they come out with Doom, and then there's a bunch of crappy ports for it, and nobody's making true 3D games, and all of a sudden Quake hits, and everybody has to catch up with that, and then all of a sudden then they release the next game, and that's been happening for a while now. Crytek comes out with Crysis, and now everybody wants to do giant outdoor areas, and now everybody magically is capable of doing it after they release Far Cry, and so. You get once an example is out there and people see that something's possible, it makes them strive for it and makes them try to work hard, and they say, okay, we know we can do this, let's just figure out how to do it now. And I think that that's definitely true with what the software that we've seen recently on the system. So I think it's a good point. I am Atkins says male female, and says that first party exclusives have always been one large reason for owning one console over another. If we could play just one PS3 exclusive being released in 2008, which game would it be and why? And of note, he says, make sure Ryan chooses only one.
Oh, snap. I actually don't know why he's trying to burn me that way.
Okay, Ryan, what exclusive would you like to play on the PS3?
You all know the answer, Little Big Planet. It has almost infinite replayability, and that's obviously why you would want to play it for the whole year.
Obviously.
Duh.
Clearly.
Jeff, are we together on this one? Wonder Twin Powers activate?
Do it.
Gear Solid 4?
Woot!
They actually put their hands
MGS4.
together.
We did actually put our hands together.
Yeah, we did give each other a pound on that one.
I got to go with Gran Turismo 5.
You would.
I always go with Gran Turismo 5. Jeremy?
Infamous.
But we don't know enough about it. See, I was thinking about it too.
Yeah.
Sean9986 says, when can we expect to hear more about Infamous? The little I saw was awesome, but obviously not enough to get an idea of what the game will really be like.
Soon, early next year.
Very soon. Yeah, as has been the case with a lot of other games coming out last year,
Hold off.
Yeah, hold off on that. Let the other games come out, and then when after holiday season, come back and talk about it again. So, expect to hear about that very soon. SV Tracer 0587 would like to know, since GT5 Prologue has come out, do you think that more prologues will be coming, or do you think that GT5 will actually ship in the U.S. next year? I think it definitely will ship. My total guess, I have had no actual information except for being a fan. I say it's going to be like June. But
when he says prologues, does he mean for other franchises, or because you can only have one prologue in a store?
Prologue expect.
Well, maybe he means more updates to it, later on in the year. Which Sony's going to add, the online play sometime around Christmas, and
I'm just glad they got away from their super aggressive. Remember their old super aggressive plan? Was like we're gonna release little bits of little cars here, a little feature here, and lots of expensive packages in the beginning. And I'm glad they got away from that because they realized what a disaster it would have been.
Instead, they just make you pay $40 for a demo.
It's more than a demo, though, isn't it?
No, no. I mean,
I haven't played it. I haven't played it. I haven't seen it. So I don't know.
It's awesome. I love playing it. It's an expanded demo, though. I mean, it's it's like 39 cars, or whatever it is, and
I wonder how many people are actually getting it.
People are spending a lot of money to buy the Japanese PlayStation Network cards on eBay. I've heard of people paying like $70 or $80 for what's equivalent to a $50 card in order to get the demo. So,
hey, real quick, speaking of demos, who's been playing Burnout Paradise?
I've been playing it.
Yeah, me too. Oh, I can't wait.
The game's the business.
I know.
Sweet. Apollo X would like to know, do you guys have any idea when we'll see some media on Team Eco's next game? Do we even have any idea of when it's going to be unveiled to the media? I do not, and going back to when they announced Shadow of the Colossus, I don't know that they even really made a big deal about its announcement beforehand. They just sort of, at least in the case of that game, they just sort of called their own shots. They had, the unveiling was in like a meeting room on what looked like an overhead projector.
It was a financial get-together just to go over the quarterly numbers, and they just so happened to show it.
Yeah, so there's really no telling with what they're going to do.
However, that said, I think you're going to see it next year.
Blog neck!
No, yeah, I mean, we're going to... We'll
Mac.
see it, I think,
Done
sooner
Mac.
than later at this point, especially since I think Sony will take good advantage of showing it off, even if it's still a while away, even if they have like no idea when it's going to come out. It would be good for them to say, hey, look, our year's looking good, and we have more stuff coming in the future. Here's Team Ico's next game.
That's the real big question. Now, what are they going to do for E3 next year and TGS, and what are they going to focus on? Because they're going to have Metal Gear, Gran Turismo, Infamous, all those games scheduled for next year.
See, I think TGS might have the Team Ico's next game.
Yeah, I think
might be
that's a
what it
good
is.
call. But the question is, what's next after all this big group of games we know? I think that a lot of people would like to know that too.
Well, God
what's
of
the
War's
next?
God of War's in production, so they can announce that at E3. They could
Resistance
even just
2.
do Resistance 2, I think, will be
Yeah.
their big E3 game. Yeah.
Be interesting.
Yeah, and Gran Turismo, they can show that off in full at E3, so they have plenty of stuff to show. Let's see. We did that one. Vector Mike would like to know that, or he said he's pursuing Greg's blog, looking for photographs and stuff in order to help him stalking.
Get
he came
in
across
line.
he came across a series of videos from around the office. He loves insight on this kind of thing. He would like to know some anecdotes from around the workplace.
Ooh. I'm assuming he doesn't listen to GameScoop. I have a good PlayStation-related prank that is happening as we speak right now to one Nate Ahern of the Ahern.
Proof that he doesn't listen to GameScoop.
Yeah, he's still unaware of this prank. If you remember, we did that video where we sang to the PlayStation 3 on its birthday, and there was a cake there, and this cake got cut up, but no one ate it because it was very bad. So about 3/4 of this cake were left sitting out, and I let everybody leave, and then I took that cake and hid it in one of Nate's desk drawers, and to this day, a month later, it still sits in that desk drawer. And he has no idea.
That's like a biohazard now.
Which
It will be now.
It's we have these hutches over our desk that lock, so everybody keeps most of their stuff in there. That way you don't, because you can lock it. And then we have a little set of file cabinets on the drawer, and there's one small drawer on the very top that you pull out. I keep a bunch of notebooks in it, but Nate keeps nothing. Now a cake.
You fit a cake in the small drawer on the
I fit a
top?
cake in the small drawer.
That thing's only like 2 inches high.
Yeah, well, it's a sheet cake. I mean, it wasn't like a big old layered.
Not the little secret panel.
No.
but the
No,
actual, okay.
not the secret panel. Yeah.
How does he know? Okay, that's kind of crazy.
It's
to look
Nate.
in there.
I can't wait to see how
The
long
funny
this
thing
joke
is,
goes.
isn't the last time you checked it, which was about a week ago, it looks exactly the same as it did when he got it?
Yeah, that is kind of it's a lot like Super Size Me. But real quick, I forgot. Fans, you got a pinky swear not to tell Nate. Don't tell Nate. Don't anybody say anything, Nate.
Yeah, we want to see how long this goes before he finally recognizes the smell is his drawer, not his shoes.
You wear sandals a lot.
Kramer3111 says, wants to know if in future installments of Rock Band, assuming that there are some, is there any hardware that we'd like to see added or changed, like a second kick pedal?
Keytar.
Keytar would be good. I think a second drum pedal would be awesome.
Right.
And
Yeah.
put in some like super expert, like death metal drums. You're just double bass all the time. That'd be cool.
Wireless guitar that works.
Yeah.
I think it'd also be smarter to include 2 guitars in the overall package. If you want to play
There you
bass
go.
and guitar, you have to buy a guitar separately, which you can't do right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually inviting people to buy your competition in Guitar Hero.
Well,
Yeah.
not if you're running the PS3 version because you can't.
Which is the next email I was getting to, which is look at how
we're
I'm tying
stringing it
all
together
these-
today.
Segue.
People would really think we planned this show.
Yeah, this is by far the most cohesive reader mail segment we've had so far. But
Milk
all right.
female.
Stoicism99 says he's curious about what our opinions are on the Harmonix Activision Sony three-way dance. Maybe he's inferring some other stuff over the patch for Rock Band's compatibility with the Guitar Hero 3 controller. So now anybody that doesn't know what's happening here, so on the Xbox 360, you can play the Guitar Hero 3 wireless guitar, the Les Paul, which is awesome, with Rock Band. Not so much on the PS3. It just doesn't work. So the
It
plan
recognizes that it's a controller, but not a guitar controller.
Right.
Right.
So now what's happened was that Harmonix said, we're going to make a patch and we're going to release it so that Rock Band will work with the guitar. And then Harmonix announced that they had the patch done. They gave it to Sony. It got submitted. It was approved. They were basically just waiting for the next PlayStation Network update to post the patch or whatever they were going to do. And then Activision came in and said, no, we don't want you to release that. Then Activision later turned around, after Harmonix announced this publicly, Activision later turned around and said something like Harmonix isn't being very open with talking to them or whatever, which I personally believe Harmonix's story, but, who knows. Anyway, so they want, and then Sony is just taking a sort of, Switzerland approach and saying we're not going to, talk about this with anybody, let them work it out, and hopefully they'll come to us with, an agreement so we can help gamers. What does everybody think about this?
I think it sucks.
I think it's a mess of worms.
Like, personally, I own the PS3 version of Rockman, and I was hoping that it was going to be exactly like this. Like, they were going to release a patch, it was going to be fine. I could play my Guitar Hero 3 guitar with Rock Band, as opposed to just having to sweat it out with the Rock Band guitar. And right now, I'm just having to just deal with that substandard guitar. Now, I've gotten used to it, and I can play it, and I'm fine with it, but I'm pretty pissed at Activision that they tried to pull this. I mean, like, it doesn't make me want to buy Guitar Hero 4 or any of the songs for Guitar Hero 3. I mean, why exactly am I going to do that? If any, talk about seriously creating a situation of bad press for a game and for the peripheral.
Mm-hmm. See, I don't think that's warranted. I don't think you can get pissed at another company for saying that my controller is not compatible with my competitor's game and be pissed at them legitimately.
Well, I think the concern is that in 360,
The 360, it's perfectly
that
fine.
I totally understand, and I do think that there should be a patch. I think that that's the best way to do it. But to hold that against somebody in the long term as a consumer and saying, I can't believe that this game I bought won't work with this game down the line, it's kind of strange when you're dealing with two different development crews, two different publishers. It comes with its own instrument. They're telling you when you buy the thing, use this guitar, not this one.
But I think it's just.
But
I think it's just
considering
not.
that it's on the 360 and it's fine, and it's on the PS3, it's like,
It's a
why are you
comparison.
screwing the PS3 as opposed to the 360? If it was across the board, yeah,
That's my
then I
problem,
wouldn't
yeah.
care. But
Well,
if
then
it's
how
on
do
the
we-
360 and it's not on the PS3, I got a problem with that.
How do we know that it's actually Activision screwing anybody? It could just be a matter of Sony it didn't matter to them, as again they're Switzerland. They didn't say, hey, wouldn't this be good if it was also compatible here, and they didn't even double check on it.
Then
It's-
Well, if that was
I
true,
will buy no one's product of anyone connected. I'm done with video games.
Here's what's going to happen is that if there's enough demand for it, which I think there is, you're going to see that the Rock Band players on PS3 are going to demand that they get this patch, and you're going to see it, and that's going to be the end of it. It's going to inevitably happen. There will not be a time where 3 years from now we're saying they never released that patch. I think it's bad. I think it's bad for everyone involved, because it does kind of it messes up the perception of the companies, and it's going to actually limit how often people are going to play this game, because again they do have preferences. But I don't think that it's fair to automatically get down on a company as much as angrily as you have because they're not supporting another competitor's game. I just think that's a weird.
It just seems
weird stance.
It just seems skewed or platform like preferential towards one platform or another because it works fine on one platform, not on the other. If it was an equal experience,
Are you
so
angry
be
at
it.
Valve for making Team Fortress the absolutely terrible in the lobby beforehand on 360 but not PC? Same thing. Are they saying that 360 owners aren't as good as PC users because because it doesn't work as well, and there hasn't been a patch that hasn't necessarily addressed that yet? I think that there's nothing malicious here. I think
Better
that's
than
just
the PS3 version.
that's true. But I don't think there's anything malicious or intentional or any type of favoritism going on here. I think it's a certain set of circumstances that has created this, and I think that it will be fixed. And it will be fixed by people who are listening to this podcast who care. And, of course, they'll send in the letters, and eventually they'll realize they can't ignore it, and they'll fix it.
right to your senators and congresmen.
Yes, do it. Do it
So
now.
That is the end of our mail segment. We've handled enough mail there. Answered some good questions.
Is that the goodbye?
The sad mail call.
It's time for pick of the week.
Pick of the week is an easy one for most people. They'd say Rock Band on PS2. However, I am saying Christmas Miracle and nominating Beyond the Beyond for PlayStation 1. Now, I would have loved to tell you how awesome this game is, but the IGN copy is missing this one, so I cannot tell you.
Remove the instructions.
So we just have the box.
Is it not there?
No.
It is.
Open the second
Yeah, I
half.
know disc 2's here, but there's nothing.
Interesting. By the way, why would you recommend that game? I've played the game, and it's
called Beyond the
Oh,
Beyond.
podcast
It's beyond. It doesn't make it good. That game is not good.
Well, I
But
never had a chance.
if you can find that game, it's probably like $1 these days.
Yeah.
And it's-
Perhaps
and
you should change the name to your podcast to Sweet Code in 2. Because that's a much better RPG
Do you
than
understand that you can unravel complex secrets in 2 richly textured views?
okay.
Explore in lush top-down isometric view and battle savage enemies in full 3D combat.
How,
Can't wait.
Beyond the Beyond! PlayStation 1!
how about this, Greg? I'm going to promise you some work for to do some work for readers now. If any of our readers have a copy of Beyond the Beyond, take a picture of yourself with Beyond the Beyond, listening to our podcast or whatever it is. Just take a picture of Beyond the Beyond, send it to us. Greg will create a blog update and put all your pictures
And
in
I
there.
will give you something.
Oh,
Love.
There you go. No,
Yes,
it'll be
he will.
physical.
We never drink after him in our house again. The little party, the box. I saw what you left on the cup.
You are a mean man. It was between us. It was a gift for the family.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
whoops.
All right. I think that about wraps up all of our content for this week's show. Aw,
And the year,
so
right?
sad.
Final one
and the
of
year. This is the last one.
2007.
of
Well, if I
2007.
may, can I throw out a couple promos
Do
for the
it.
site real quick?
Oh, yeah, we
okay.
got a lot of stuff.
So for people that are wondering what we're going to be doing over the holiday break, nothing. But this week, before we go, we are going to have on Thursday a year in review. All the sites, including the PlayStation team here,
Yay.
are going to be looking back on the year that was 2007 and talking about everything from the high-end games, the big news stories, taking some of our predictions, some of which were wrong, some of which are right, our E3 picks, that whole thing, looking back at it and saying, how did we do and how did the year do? And then on Friday is the big time for a lot of people where we have our platform-specific awards, and that's when everyone here in this room, well, except for me, voted on what they thought were the best PlayStation 2, PlayStation Portable, and PlayStation 3 games of the year. And they reveal that so everyone can see what they thought were the best games of the year. And then we'll be back on January the 3rd for a full update. But in the meantime, we won't really be around doing anything because it's holiday time, and that's when the company shuts down. But when we get back on January 11th, we'll have our overall awards so we can find out, out of all the games on all the platforms, who is number one. And again, we do have plenty of things planned for next year. It is IGN's 10th anniversary next year, particularly in January, that we will turn 10.
Oh.
And we have plenty of changes for the site planned throughout the year. It's not going to be automatic. You're not going to come in all of a sudden. It's an all-new place. But throughout the year, you're going to be seeing lots of new features, lots of new everything, and sadly, lots of old folks like myself. But still, it should be fun.
Are we doing one last like what we're doing this week, or
Oh, yeah.
or around the room, or
There's a Jack
whatever it is?
Tretton interview going up today. You should read it. There you go.
Very good.
That's mine. Spelling Challenges more will be reviewed eventually.
And I was skipping
Turn on
around the
these.
room because it's the end of the year. I don't think anybody's doing really anything interesting right now.
Cool.
I'm playing
So.
Super Mario Galaxy right now, but it has nothing to do with the PlayStation. So
There you go.
I'm playing Ratchet.
Yay.
Good.
Very good.
it's great, isn't it?
Do it.
Yes, it is.
Fantastic.
Good game.
Love that
So,
game.
Greg, why don't you lead us out of here
With a song,
with a song?
I'd love to, but the readers have failed me. In the final 2007, none of you suggested any songs, so you suck. Fix it for 2008. Roper, look at the clock. You now, as punishment, get 5 seconds of white noise.
Very good.
That's the song.
Wow.
Terrible.
All right.
They suggested nothing.
Someone unplugged Greg.
Somebody suggest some songs. It can be ridiculous. Whatever. Somebody
Old
suggest some
Lang
songs. Yeah.
It'll be too late now.
That actually
You
would
don't
have
have
been
any
good.
emergency songs?
I don't want to. If they don't want songs anymore, then they don't get no songs anymore.
Request some songs from Greg.
You've broken my heart.
You broke his heart.
Board
He's very
members.
sad. You've ruined his holiday season.
It's true. Cole and all
He's
your
got a big friend
stockings.
now.
I'm gonna cry.
No, you've got a big friend now.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will see everybody in 2008. Raise a glass for us at New Year's. And
For us.
yeah.
We won't do the same for you, though.
so, yeah, happy holidays, everybody.
Yes, happy holidays.
Bye.
Indeed.
God bless us,
Beyond holidays.
everyone.
Beyond holidays.